So my house is haunted, or I'm haunted. Honestly, I'm not really sure at this point because I have a lot of experience with ghosts. So I'm just gonna tell you some of those memories / stories now. Ghosts, happy Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna start from my earliest memory of this, and it's going to be when I was 3 or so. My great-grandpa had died, so we went back east to stay with my great-grandma for the funeral. The night before the funeral, I was up by myself doing 3-year-old shenanigan, hooligan things, and I see my great-grandfather walk into the room that my grandparents were staying in at the time. Now, at 3 years old, I had no concept of what death meant, so this is how that played out at the funeral home the next day.
Come on, Olivia, we need to go say bye to Grandpa now.
But why? I want to stay in color.
Please, Olivia, just come on.
And then I threw the biggest temper tantrum that funeral home had ever seen. Next, I can recall being about 9, being at the Winchester Mystery House, and if you weren't sure what that is, I will put a link to a description of it in the description. So I was there with my mom and my dad, and we were there for a tour, and let me tell you about how much I hated it. And it's nothing against the tour guides or how the tour was set up, it was that house. I felt physically ill throughout the entire time, but the second I left the house I was fine. I was physically pushed up a flight of stairs, and I felt a hand grab me on my back, and that left a nice little rash back there. And I imagine this is what the ghosts were discussing before they assaulted me. Get a hold of this nerd. I'm gonna mess with her. Yeah. You wanna push her? Yeah? Okay. Similarly, about a year after that, we went to Alcatraz. And again, if you aren't sure what that is, description in the description. We went on a tour, and my parents did the audio guide, but I hate audio guides. Long story about Graceland about that. But I didn't have one, so I would just kind of wander ahead of them a bit. And at one point, I was standing in this hallway where a prisoner and a guard had died, and I suddenly felt so ill and cold, and I felt something grab my ankle, and I struggled to get away, but I couldn't. So as I was struggling to get away, I tripped, and later there was a bruise on the bottom part of my leg. Obviously my parents mounted that too. Oh, you tripped, but if I had tripped, it would have been on my knee, not so much a weird mid part of my leg. Fun family times with my mom and dad. The last bit that I'm going to talk about, just because I don't want to make this video long, there's more, but I don't want to make this video too long. So this room, this has been my room since I was about 4. However, I didn't sleep in here until I was about 13 because it scared the crap out of me. I hated playing in here. I always felt like I wasn't alone and somebody was watching me in here. I constantly would hear shuffling. We had carpeting, so it was just muffled. And now I have hardwood flooring, and I still hear footsteps. I still hear voices talking. Now I have become stronger of a human, and I just yell, "Get out of my room," and generally that works. But throughout the house, my grandma and I will both see shadows, we'll hear footsteps, we'll hear our name called. Especially if you're alone in the house, you'll hear your name being screamed across the house. And just general uneasiness, we'll smell cigar smoke. Even though none of us smoke, the dog will just bark at random things for no reason. It's great. It's real fun. The TVs turn on and off by themselves. I don't know. Maybe we're just both suffering from like psychotic breaks or have been exposed to some toxin. Leave your... so yeah. Leave your paranormal experiences, if you have any, in the comments below. And maybe I'll reply with more of mine if that happens to come up. I don't know. Love you all. Bye. Why am I so bad at ending videos? Okay. Dear 25-year-old Olivia, hey, this is weird. It's weird talking to myself